So the update came out on the Seestar app, and now we can do planning. And this is my first attempt at doing a plan. And so I'm going to walk us through it together. And if I do it right and everything works great, I'll feel like an expert. And if not, we'll learn together. So I'm going to take us step by step through how I set it up in the Seestar, and then at the end I'll show you the results of what it captured. When you first open the app, there's now a little box there by the deep sky stack that says plan, and that's where we're going to go to set up our plan. You can see that the stargazing has an orange box around it right now. That's because when I took this picture, I was actually photographing something else. But we're going to click on the plan. I took this picture after I've already set up my plan, but then I went back in it to uh, get some screenshots so I could show you how. So ignore the top boxes. We'll talk about that later. But down at the bottom, it says to create your plan. And that's what we're going to click on to begin creating our plan. Once you click on that, it brings up this box and asks you to name your plan. And I just named mine the date so that I could just keep it straight by date. I guess it can be 50 characters. Mine wasn't that long. And then click confirm, and that's what sets up the record for your plan. It takes us back to this screen, and then now I want to add objects that I want to add to my plan. And so up in the top right-hand corner, you just click on the little spyglass there that says objects. You could also surf around on the sky map and select them that way. I just find it easier to search for the objects themselves than trying to find it in the sky map, but either way works. Then it brings up another second search dialog box. That's where you're going to type in the number that you want. So I typed M31. You'll find out later on that M31 isn't actually in my final plan, but I went back in and recreated things so that I could create some screenshots to create this video. So M31, I'm just going to show you how to do that one because it teaches a few different things. Once we type M31 in that search box, options come up, and the very first one is usually the one that I want. And then it creates this little bullseye target thing over on the right-hand side. And if you click on that, that tells it that that's the one that you want to select to add to your plan. Then it takes us back to the screen where we first started, and it shows the object on our screen. And the reason I went back and created one for M31 is because I want to show that we can do the framing on this one, because the M31 isn't going to fit in that little tiny red box. And so we want to do the framing that you've probably done before, but it is possible to do that in the planning mode as well. So to do that, we click on the framing box there on the right hand side of the screen. Then nothing has changed here in the framing mode. It just brings up the two options for enlarging that red box and one for rotating it. And so you'll center that in the box just like you've done prior in other images that you've done before the planning mode. Once you've got it all framed and centered in the box like you want, enlarged to the size you want, rotated, then you're going to click this add button right next to the M31 where that red arrow is pointing to, and that's going to add it to your plan. Once you've added it to your plan, a couple things happen. This little button comes up on the right-hand side. That's for the light pollution filter. You can turn that on if you want to. And down at the bottom, it shows a graph, and that's showing you the path that M31 is taking in the sky so that you can plan it for when it's on the latitude that you need. You don't want to do it when it's gone down below the horizon, and so you want to make sure that it's going to be up and visible in your area. And this graph shows you the arc of that, the path of M31. I did a screenshot of another one so that you can see more clearly the path of this object, since the M31 one just looked like a slanted graph. But this is how all of the objects will look, is their graph visible during the time period of your plan. It will show where they're at during that time period. And so this one shows you the arc a little bit better. So now we're going to set the time that we want it to record this object in our plan. And so you'll see the clock up on the top, it's in military time. And so the red lines that the arrows are pointing to, that's the gap, and you just click your finger on it in your app and you can slide those left and right. And you can make them 10 minutes long or 6 hours long. It doesn't really matter how long you make it. You just want to make sure that it's going to be visible. And so you want to set it for the amount of time you want. So right here, we've got it set for 11 or 10 minutes after midnight to 4:50 in the morning. Once you're satisfied with your timing and your settings, you're going to click that add button to the right. You see the arrow pointing to it, and then it will drop it down into this graph in the bottom. And this picture shows that I have 6 items scheduled in my plan, and it shows their arc and the times during the night that they're imaging. And so this is where you're going to set your schedule. If you just click on one of those little rectangular boxes in the bottom, it will highlight it. And this one, I don't have the LP filter on, but I do want it to be on. So this is where I could change those things individually after they're already in my plan. You can also highlight it. You can click the delete button, or if I am satisfied with the way it looks and how it's going to be in the schedule, I click the little check mark, and that's what saves it to my plan. And just to make the deleting clear, if I highlight that one rectangular box and click the delete, it just deletes that one that is highlighted. And so if I decide, oh, I don't want to do that one tonight, you can just click on it and then click delete, and it will just remove that one section of your plan. And once I've made any changes, again, if I've turned on the light pollution filter, and now I just need to click the little check button at the bottom to save that change. Now comes the fun part. We've got our schedule all set, and mine is going to start at 1900 hours, and I'm going to image 6 items through the night, and it's going to get done about 4:30 in the morning. I just click that execute button and it does its whole thing all by itself. And just for a note, while I was filming, it passed 1900 hours, and I still clicked execute, and it just started where I began. And so if you miss your window to start it, you can still start it after the fact. It would just have a little less imaging time than you planned. So now that it's executed and you're imaging, you can go back into the Seestar app, and if you click on plan or my plan, it will bring up this box, and it shows the green, and that's what it's currently imaging. And so it shows you its position in your plan. So it's doing the first image, it's about halfway done, if you can see the green arrow up above. And so you can see its progress as it's recording. Another nice feature that I noticed is if you go into my plan, it also has a second graph down below, and it lets you start setting up tomorrow's plan, or later after the 4:30 a.m. when my previous plan ends, it would start another one. But you can do your planning while it's imaging. So that was kind of a handy little feature, because then you learn what you like and what planets are at the right place where you want to image them. And so you can make your plans while you're currently imaging. This image was taken a few minutes after the first of my images finished, and it started with the second image in my plan. And so it shows you its progression when you go into that My Plan screen of the Seestar app. I'm going to post images of my final images from my plan. My first one in the lineup for tonight is M33, and I'll just post you a picture of that. One thing I did notice is it doesn't automatically save it to my phone. Like when you're imaging regularly and you exit out of the image, it will save a copy of that to your phone. Well, it does not do that in the plan. So I'm going to have to go back into the Seestar and my works folder and get those images off of there. This is M33. You'll notice when I was doing my plan that I didn't put a whole lot of time on each one. So we're not going really for quality in this video. We're going just to test out the plan and see what we can produce with a plan without us babysitting the Seestar all night. So this is M33. The second one in my plan was M76, and this is the Dumbbell Nebula. I always also wanted to make a note that I didn't do any enhancing at all. I didn't even darken it, brighten it, nothing like that. The only thing I did is maybe enlarge it to fit the screen, but I didn't do any post-processing at all. No denoising, nothing. This is just straight off of the Seestar. This one is an experiment. I haven't ever imaged this one before. It's LDN 1657. It's a dark nebula, a cold dark nebula. So I'm not exactly sure if it's going to show up in the amount of time that I put on it, but we're doing an experiment. So this is LDN 1657 in my night plan. This one turned out pretty nice. Little post-processing would brighten it up and enhance it a little, but I think it turned out pretty nice. This is the fourth of 6 in my plan, NGC 2446. It's a spiral galaxy in the Lynx constellation. This is another new one for me, so I'm not exactly sure how big it's going to be and how visible. I did put a little bit more time on this one, so hopefully it'll come up with something that we can tell what it is. This one went for a long time, but it turned out pretty invisible. It's very small. When I looked at the object on the screen and identified it, you can see that the circle around it is so very tiny pinpoint on the screen. So this one probably wouldn't be an ideal one for the Seestar. This is M98, the Owl Nebula. I've done this one before, but I haven't captured very much time on this one. So I did devote a little bit more time to this than I have in the past. So I'm hoping to get a nice picture. I'm a little surprised this one didn't come out clear. It's still pretty blurry. Looks almost like the one that I did earlier with short exposure time. So I was a little surprised with this one. 08 is the Surfboard Galaxy. And I haven't done this one before either. So this one's an experiment in addition to putting it in the plan. This one is probably my favorite. It turned out great. I think it would be an easy one to do some post-processing on and add some color and tighten up some of the edges and things. So this one was my favorite. This is the Surfboard Nebula or Galaxy. So something I did want to note that I learned is you can see in my little graphs of my night plan, there's some little gaps in between there. That's because my eyes aren't good enough on a little tiny screen of my phone to see where the lines land, and I didn't want to overlap them, and so they didn't quite touch. Well, it does take a break during those. It's not smart enough to figure out and squish those together and keep imaging. It takes that little bit of a break. And so that's something to make a note of. Maybe use a magnifying glass or something. There, I wish there was a way to enlarge that screen so that it was a little bit more visible, but maybe other people don't have the same problem I do. Wondering how the battery would do. And I know if we just left it on the Seestar battery, that it would run out of battery before our plan was completed. And so we did run it on a battery pack like this early on in the plan. And then that kept the Seestar internal battery at 100%. And then before I went to bed, I switched it out for another battery pack. And so that was able to keep the charge on the external battery and the Seestar throughout the night. These little icons on the left and right, if you click on those, it will bring up a list view of your plan. And it's a little easier to see the times. It also tells you when it's completed that section of your plan succeeded. And so in this screen, you can see that all 6 of my objects succeeded in imaging and went through the entire plan. When the plan finished, it did close the arm. It didn't shut down the Seestar and power it off, but it did shut the arm, and you can see that that orange box around the stargazing has gone away because it's no longer imaging. Since it closes the arm automatically, you'll want to make sure that you don't have anything on the Seestar that would impede it closing. It was kind of funny. My internal clock must have been working. I ended up waking up about 10 minutes before it finished, and that's when I got up to take these last images. And I'm talking a little quiet because there's people sleeping, but I did use the anti-dew on my imaging during the night, and you can see that it didn't power down, so that slide to shut down is lit up. It did, the second battery pack had about 80% left on it, and it must not have been charging the Seestar because the Seestar internal battery ended at about 50%. But at least the battery made it through the night, and it all worked out great. So overall, I think everything worked perfectly. It was easy to set up. Um, a few little quirks that we would have to figure out, but being our first time, I thought it went fairly smoothly. We didn't end up imaging somebody's street lights for 2 hours, so that was good too. It works so well, and I'm happy that I'll have access to some images that are in the sky when I'm sleeping. And so this will be a great addition to the Seestar app and just the Seestar imaging in general. Share with me your thoughts and your experiences using the planning portion of the app with the new update. I'd love to hear your experiences, and thanks for watching.